Greetings, my brothers and sisters. Numaki Wawa, King Ajalandi and Subu. Um, in our fight or in our move towards worldwide African unity, it's been a lot of turbulence. It's a lot of sorrow, you know? It's a lot of pain, it's a lot of hurt. And I don't care how militant you are, how revolutionary you are, how much you're pushing for liberation, how much you love the white man or you don't like the white man, or how much you love black people or you don't like black people. It's a lot of hurt. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of sorrow. All the trauma and torture the ancestors went through. And you grow up in America around white people, in Europe and Africa, around white people, and they read the same history books. But it's different because those your ancestors that got hung, tarred and feathered, mutilated, brutalized, raped, and it was their ancestors that did it. And then they see the division inside this society. And they're the descendants of the ones who started division. And the division cannot keep going on unless they participated. And then you got the Negroes that was raised with these people, who are the descendants of the ones who mutilated us. And the descendants, the African Americans, they think everything is just fine, some of us. And they see the division. And then they blame us. They blame us for the economic division. Then you got some people that's black or Negro, colored, whatever word you want to use. They don't even like other black people. They'll tell you something like, it's because of y'all white people do this to us. If you pull your pants up, if you comb your hair, if you cut your hair, you got a group of black people who's trying to figure out what it's going to take to make white people love us, like us, respect us, or treat us with some type of dignity, or at least a little human compassion. For 400 years. It's a fucked up mentality to have. Searching yourself to find the answer within you to make another ethnic group, another species, another division of humankind or mankind or a kind of man. You're at his mercies. Socially, economically, psychologically, militarily. And even though you're an individual, you might don't think you, in your individual mind, you might think you're free, connected to the cosmos or the spirit or the Jesus or the Muhammad. You in the system also. In the system, as you designated on a birth certificate as Negro, colored, black, or African American. Paradigms. You can play mental games with yourself and tell yourself you ain't none of those. But the system is checks and balance. See you as just that. So can we positive our way into liberation, into a better world, if we the only ones on the end thinking positive? And the other group is thinking about killing us, hanging us, burning us, tarring and feathering us. Go back to Africa, nigga. Make America great again. Kill all the niggas. If there's a mentality like that and you're thinking positive, does that change something? Or does that leave you out there to be pecked off? How much reality is our reality? How much of the narrative are we in control of? And when we say we, what is we? The black people I grew up with, they just want to vote and work and send their kids to school so their kids can go to work and vote. And they want to shop and go to church. That's simple. They're not thinking about their own system. They just want to sing the anthem, salute the flag, and they want to have white friends. Very simple. They're not complex. Somebody sold them a dream and they want to dream that dream. Have you noticed the key word is dream? To believe in your dreams? They don't never tell you to believe in reality. They tell you to chase your dreams. Dream is a state of comatose. It's a state of REM, rapid eye movement, rapid eye movement. The American dream, Martin Luther King dream. They paid millions of dollars to keep the African American or the Black American or the Negro or the Moorish American, whatever word you people or our people or we like to say. They pay money to keep us inside of a dream. They don't tell us to stay in nature, stay with what's natural, to stay into reality. You got a nation of dreamers chasing dreams in a field of dream. Who can achieve a dream but a sleeper? They don't say chase an ideal. They don't say improve the quality of life of Earth. They tell you to create something to get you some money and build personal wealth. They use the word personal wealth. Personal wealth is competitive. It's a state of division. When we look at the idea of wealth, wealth has always been an accumulation of something. And those who are considered wealthy, they have an abundance of something that someone else or some people or some groups don't have. And that's the program. That's the matrix. That's the mind tricks. And we're raised by our parents and their parents in the educational system, in the politicians, to be okay with that.
I'm going to guess that you didn't leave all this stuff on the sink, right? Just hamburger meat and
It's very interesting after 400 years of servitude, of bondage, of slavery, of mutilation, of hemorrhaging, of the brain drain, to be connected to a population, a race, a community, a people who have been programmed to chase money and material things inside of a dream artificial intelligence, and to purchase glimpses of nature, hiking, camping, canoeing, rafting, like it is a vacation. Like the natural world is what you take a trip to. And living in this artificial insemination, the simulator called social economics society is a normal thing. We, the indigenous people of the planet, and the few habitats that's left, when we see the indigenous people, we don't see them living under none of these constraints. They go from one area to another area. They don't worry about insects. They don't worry about animals. And they don't be worrying about other human beings. They know their environment. They're comfortable in the natural environment. And we've been taught to call the primate the original. That's all primitive means, the original, in your original circumstances. We have been taught to call them backwards. Like being primitive is something distasteful to the creator, to the universe, living in nature, with nature, as nature. Thought is so far away unless you're going camping, unless you're going to the great outdoors. They created us with a mentality that we have to have artificial comforts in these so-called technological advances and to operate in an industrial complex with no thought of how Mother Nature operates, with no desire to plug into Mother Nature. It's modern to be unplugged from Mother Nature. And Mother Nature, they didn't have no guns. People was not getting shot by a department inside of a society that's in a civilization that's represented by a republic that has a constitution to make it a state of the United States called America within the American hemisphere, where the slave catcher changes his name to police. Pole ice, polar ice. Police means polarize and to put on ice, to freeze the solar people. You have been polarized. The police are here to keep us polarized. Their names were called slave catchers. It's very interesting how we send our kids to be indoctrinated. And when they graduate, we clap and we cheer them on for standing proficiently inside an indoctrination that shapes their views of themselves, the views of their circumstances, and the view of the world, their views of the world. We ridicule them if they step outside of their box. You're a dropout. You did not finish school. Or you were a dummy, or you were stupid, or you didn't pay attention, or you didn't learn nothing. There's a puppet master, somebody controlling the paradigm. And we all know it. And we say one day God is going to get the puppet master. We put it on, we know there's a physical puppet master or masters, but we put it on a visible entity, which is called a spirit, which we call God or creator, to come fix it. There's a physical group of entities or entities that's causing us to live in poverty, to live in artificial intelligence, to live in these holograms, to socialize under these civic ethical codes. And we wait for an invisible force that created the whole universe to come put its energy to intercede in the affairs of those who sit in rooms on how to govern us. Isn't that don't click a bell? Because at the same time, while you waiting on Jesus, you waiting on Muhammad, you waiting on Moses or God, every 4 years you elect a cabinet, a Congress, and a judicial body to continue the system that is ungodly, hoping that the God of justice will enter them to bring you justice when it's an unjust system. That's very painful to look at a whole population that's been put in servitude and slavery and argue and bicker about being Hebrews, about being the people of the book, about saying, look at this prophecy, that we are cursed, we got to go through this because of some creator. He allowed people to rule over us, and at the same fucking time, we participate by voting for the motherfuckers that this creator put over us, hoping that one day somebody inside this evil factory corporation called the United States of America capitalist Washington D.C. corporation, the electoral college will elect, and that person or persons would make a just government out of a corrupt and evil decaying fabric. That's weird. That's some weirdo shit. That's some crazy. That you have some fucked up fabric, some fucked up material, and you expected the material to adjust itself and become pure, to become divine, to become holy, to become righteousness. Whole paradigm that we live in, our mental choices are very limited because we haven't unlearned the program of the education and of the religion and of the politics. So therefore, we're stuck in a mental box. And even in our best thinking, we still have to choose in those boxes. Please put a check on the box that you think is the right answer. I didn't set up, prayed, meditated, rebelled, acted out, complied, conformed, fasted. How do I take a certain group of people that have been pushed, suppressed, oppressed, and downtrodden. And how do we elevate? How do we structureize? How do we build infrastructure? How do we get into civics? When, where, how, why? What are we going to do with it? And to no avail, the solution to no avail, worldwide African unity, black nationalism, black power, black militia. We need a black army. We need a black army. We need a black political party. We need a black political party. We need black banks. We need black bank. We need to take the black vote and set a black agenda. We need to take the black vote and set a black agenda. We need more black schools. We need more black schools. The only way we can win if we set up investment clubs and as they print money, see if we can get some of the money that they print. Because you know they burn the money also, which is an illusion. But to go into the illusion of money and hope that we can buy back the shit that they took from us. And as we buy it back, they tell us we ain't paid our taxes or we didn't dot an I or cross the T's and they take the shit again. Or you might get it in your lifetime and take it from your great-grandchild. In order to beat the white man, you have to play the game. But the creator created you without no games. So why would you play a game when the creator is not playing no games? The devil has a game, but the creator don't have a game. So if you participate in the devil's game, that means you entered. Then you know how the game go. So therefore, in the game, black lives don't matter. There's no value of black on the board because it's a game where black lose. In reality, black is supreme. Darkness is supreme. Darkness is the perpetuation of the light. From the darkness emanates the spectrums of atoms, which cause the vibration of brightness. Science of self, knowledge of self, the spiritual science, the science of spirituality, quantum physics, metaphysics, quantum spiritual particles, quantum spiritual particles of self, quantum spiritual particles of self manifesting inside nature. The eyes on King Ajalan Subu, they're orbs. When I get to a certain degree of energy, they light up. You can see the emanation from the soul, shooting solar flares into the hearts, to the souls and spirits of those who are supposed to catch it. Those who it ain't for, it's not for. Like, what is this nigga talking about? What is this brother talking about? I don't understand. Okay. You don't understand and you don't stand, you don't understand, you don't stand. The point of the topic is we gotta stop playing games. We have to understand what is the reality. Fuck a dream. Fuck the American dream. Fuck the Russian dream. Fuck the United Nations dream. Martin Luther King's dream. Yeah, I said it. We don't need to be asleep. We don't need to be entering people's dreams. Motherfuckers been dreaming since the history of the planet. But the planet and the universe don't give a fuck about your dreams. It cares about the reality. It's the ecosystem. We need to know how to survive in the ecosystem. The ecosystem doesn't care about your dream. The ecosystem cares about you knowing how to move inside the order of nature. In somebody else's narrative, there is a God that wants you to allow somebody else to fuck over you peacefully and keep praying to him and pay your tithes and offerings and go to church and do what the system says. And one day, God is going to send a Messiah, a Savior, a Redeemer, a Reformer, a Restorer, a chosen one, an elected one, an official, somebody who from himself, as himself, a prophet, a messenger, a priest, a bishop, a pastor, imam, a guru, a sage, a hermit, a monk, a swami, waiting on another individual to be the leader of the earth. That's what religion teaches. To wait for one individual to be the leader of a whole planet. That is the ideal of heaven. Well, the Rothschilds want to be that leader. The Rockefellers want to be that leader. The DuPonts want to be that leader. The Kennedys want to be that leader. Hitler wanted to be that leader. Stalin wanted to be that leader. Donald Trump wants to be that leader. Joe Biden wants to be that leader. D. Clark wanted to be that leader. The Gandhi family wanted to be that leader. The Queen of England wants to be that leader. The Pope wants to be that leader. The Supreme Mulana wants to be that leader. The Ayatollah wants to be that leader. The ideal inside religion is to have a person operate and run the world's government. The ideal religion teaches you about a one world government. The ideal spirituality say there's people all over the planet living in nature, living in sync. They don't know nothing about a sin. They don't know nothing about greed. They got to go to the tree to get the bananas and the coconut and the mangoes. They have to find the plants that is good medicine, that is good health. They have to go into the mountain to get the mountain water. They got to go to the spring to get the spring water. They got to go to the river to get the fresh river water. In a one world system, you go to a grocery store and you go to a supermarket and you have to pay your currency and you have to work for that currency. And the utopia under communism, socialism, or democracy, or in a republic, one person will rule over you and you will be born with a certain amount of credits. And when your life credits are spent, therefore they'll put you in a slave encampment or work encampment to pay off your debt, or they'll terminate your life. This is how it's set up under religion. R-E, re, right? Again, or another opportunity, or another alliance, legion, religion, that you change your allegiance. Allegiance. Religion is a allegiance. Your first allegiance is to your mom and father. Under religions, it becomes to Prophet Muhammad, Moses, the law of Moses, or to Jesus, or to Buddha, or to Krishna. That's a choice you make. No one is born into a religion. You might be born into a religious family, but the religion has to be indoctrinated in you. So now we have a mechanism to tell who's sheep and who's not sheep. The natural person is not religious, is natural. And the religion say, hey, be aware, of the natural person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what religion teaches you, not to be a part of the natural world. So if you're not a part of the natural world, you're a part of the artificial world,
Oh, yeah.
meaning civics,
Yeah.
somebody else law, somebody else governance, somebody else code of ethics, somebody else ideal on how you should be or how you should not be. There's a hula hoop that they want you to jump through the hoop. They want you to skate. It's um it's very disturbing how we look for politicians and celebrities to speak out about somebody getting shot in the back. But we don't look for Congress to speak about it, or we don't look for the executive cabinet to speak about it. We don't look for the judicial branch to speak about it. Have you noticed the three branches of government are so far away and removed from the life that goes on with black people that we have to protest, march, rally, and do civil rights in order for it to get into the atmosphere and that altitude where these people sit on high on these mountains called governments. They read the same fucking newspaper. They see the same television. They watch the same YouTube. Who gives a fuck if they go to the opera, the orchestra, or the ball? No matter where you at on planet Earth, you cannot help but see that that man got shot 7 times in the back. So we are in a system that don't give a fuck. And they trick you to thinking that if you vote, you're going to vote a system in that gives a fuck. But name one administration that used the whole weight of its economic power to restructure itself where every individual in its system would know not to fuck around inside racial disparity, which leads to discrimination. Name one administration, name one group of white folks, name one group of niggas, or house niggas, or Americans, or black Americans, or African Americans that came together to say, let's dismantle this bitch and create a new system. Ain't nobody thinking like that. What people are thinking about, taking something that's right and spoiled and hoping that it get better. That's sickness. You can't shoot this system with no penicillin. It's fucked up from its very conception. The French, the Spanish, and the British came and stole somebody else's land, and all of them released criminals. So this is a criminal enterprise. So the founding fathers and the founding families, the pilgrims and the pioneers are criminals. And let me tell you something else. Even the immigrants that immigrate over here, right? Know that this is stolen land. Know that this is built off the African slavery system. Know that the wealth of this government, the wealth of this system is free stolen land, right? And free labor, right? And hideous crimes against the Native American and against the African. You cannot migrate from any country on the earth and not know this. So you're coming to partake in the sins. You're coming to partake in the evil in the name of trying to get a better life, knowing that the better life, right, comes from the disenfranchisement of the Native American and the African here in the United States. And then we got these Negroes saying, I'm not African, I'm more. I'm not more, I'm Native American. I'm not Native American, I'm Hebrew. Who gives a fuck? But we do know that you at the bottom and that the whole world is stepping on your ass. And that there's a handful of us as far as images and ideology that they've told in our face from the puppet master. And that nobody is in a think tank of saying, hey, what's the next move? Why do we got to play chess? Because these motherfuckers are playing chess. Here you is minding your own business. A motherfucker bring you a chessboard, right? And tell you they go move first. And then they tell you to play chess with them. You don't have to come into agreement with that shit. You don't got to play the white man game. You ain't got to play the global white supremacy game. You ain't got to play the Chinese game. You ain't got to play the Hindu caste system game, right? Do you know, my nigga? Do you know, my brother? Do you know Mo? Do you know Shalom? Do you know Islam? Do you know my Nubians? Do you know Hotep? Do you know that in every system there is a hierarchy that the dark-skinned people belong at the bottom? And the lighter you are, the more privileged you are. Do you know inside Africa, I'm gonna break this shit down. Do you know within the Bantus of Southern Africa, there's a hierarchy that certain clans and tribes are better than certain clans and tribes? Do you know in Nigeria, with all these little ethnic groups, that the people in the northern Delta area think they're more special than the people in the southern area? Do you know that this tribalism and the clanism is so strong from generation to generation that white people can kill these African brothers of ours? And they okay with that as long as one clan die out? It's called ethnic cleansing. It's called ethnic cleansing. Generations of hate. Because somebody grandfather and somebody other grandfather disputed over stool, disputed over a barrier of land, disputed over who should ascend it to a throne, disputed over who had the rights to what water. So we need to be mentally clear. We need to erase some of the shit that's on our mind. And we can't get rid of it with no toilet paper. Just like you wipe your ass, we need to wipe our minds and get rid of some of these parasitic thoughts, some of these parasitic thoughts, some of these parasitic thoughts. We need to wipe our minds and get rid of some of these parasitic thoughts. Brothers and sisters, we need to wipe our mind and get rid of some of these parasitic thoughts. We have people fine with pedophilia. We have people fine with child molestation. We have people who are okay with being gangsters inside the hood, or inside the block, or inside the turf, or inside different crews, and riding on those niggas, fuck boys, right? Worshipping how many bodies they got up under their belt. because there's somebody to praise that, and there's somebody to fear that. Because there's no thought of a nation. There's no thought of a nation running through the African American mind, running through the Negro mind, running through the black mind, running through the colored mind. And even though the Moors say they're part of the Moroccan Empire, the king of Morocco don't give a fuck about them. The king of Morocco, with all his treaties, they never said, you know what I'm talking about? Don't love Brother Noble Drew Ali for his efforts, but that ain't the gospel. Love Elijah Muhammad with his effort, that ain't the gospel. Those are efforts to keep us united, and it's more than what I did. So I salute him and honor that. But that doesn't mean what they said in 1920 and 1930 is the it and all of the information that's going to come our way to help us elevate and evolve into a better people, because there was information before them, and there's definitely going to be information after them, and among them there was information. And so I'm just saying that is study those brothers, use that information, don't get caught up on no one personality, because the way the shit is set up, they want you to rally around a person, a prime minister, a savior, a prophet, an apostle, a president, a senator, a councilman, a mayor, a governor, a prince, a king, emperor, a messiah, a savior. They want the whole planet or groups of individuals to move like sheep and to rally around a particular personality and character type. And they can play that psychological psyops until your life is over with. So when you think about the end of time, when you think about the end of the world, don't think about the end of planet Earth. When the end of the world means that your life is over. Doesn't mean everybody else's life is over. Doesn't mean the insects go stop. It doesn't mean the sun and the moon go stop. That some of y'all caught up in these books and you waiting for the destruction of the planet Earth while you deteriorate. While you deteriorate in somebody else's system, spending your life every 4 years voting for somebody to make the society that's corrupt better. Corrupt people only add to corruption. Corrupt people only add to corruption. Joe Biden is corrupt. Donald Trump is corrupt. Mike Pence is corrupt. Kamala Harris is corrupt. So no matter who comes in office, it's going to be corruption. And here we are asking for a black agenda. What the fuck? A black agenda? America would not be America if it gave you an agenda. America would not be America if it gave you reparations. You're asking something that's opposed to the foundation, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, right? In the Bill of Rights. All that shit is opposed to giving you reparations. All that is opposed to giving you authority and power. All that is opposed to giving you land grants and land rights. All that is opposed to giving you full value of citizenship. And you're opposed to your own self by even asking this asinine shit. You're not looking at yourself, your brothers and sisters, and asking them, say, hey, let's declare ourselves freemen. Let's declare ourselves, right, on our parliamentary or our constitutional rights, our congressional rights, our council rights. You haven't made any statements about who you are, where you from, where you at, and where you want to go. You're asking somebody else to please tell me who I am in history, that you stole my history. Nobody cannot steal your history. They can't steal your story. They cannot. They can remove you from your artifacts. They can remove you from the archaeological sites. They can remove you from the anthropology. They can try to keep you away from the psychological and sociological factors, but it's in your DNA. Your ancestors come to you in your pineal gland, in your pituitary gland, which we call your REM, your rapid eye movement, or which we call your lucid state, or your astral state, or your ether state, or your what they call your dream, or your visions, or your insight, or your epiphanies, or your intuition. It can't take that away. Alexa, Syra, none of the artificial intelligence take that away. But you can voluntarily go into a coma. You can voluntarily go under hypnotism. You can voluntarily go under a blackout. You can voluntarily give up your soul, your spirit, your conscious. You can volunteer to give your birthright, your right of birth. Nowhere on planet Earth do they have a birth certificate. A certification of birth was for the slave master to say that you was his property. That's why it was a catalog designing a number, right? So when they did the registry on the plantation, right, in the census that will be taken for how many people were in that county seat, right? I'm not saying we're in a fucked up situation because we're not asking to be one with nature, and we're not asking for reality. We're asking to pick a dream, Martin Luther King dream or the American dream. We're asking to be included in somebody's dream. That's sickness. That's psychotic. And motherfuckers play the game with you. Play a game with me. Play a game with us. Oh, what would Jesus do? Who gives a fuck about what Jesus do? You see what Jesus did for himself. When they came and tried to get him, he slipped through the crowd. When they couldn't catch no fish on one side of the lake, he went to the other side where the fish was at. Right? But out of all the people on the earth, why are we concerned about what would Jesus do? What the fuck is we gonna do? Martin Luther King didn't die for this and he didn't die for that. Do you know what the fuck Martin Luther King died for? Do you know what kind of backdoor deal he did? Do you know who wife he slept with? Do you know what gambling shack or how much alcohol he drank? Do you know the details? Or do you know the story that they collaborated and give us in January and in February to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King? Out of all the people in our history that we can celebrate, right? Somebody picked Dr. Martin Luther King for us to celebrate. A doctor of what? What did he get his doctorate in? Evangelical doctor, right? Or did he have a doctorate in sociology? Well, King wanted us to do this. Who elected King to want us to do anything? Why we don't use Sojourner Truth? Why we don't use Harriet Tubman? Why we don't use Nat Turner? Why we don't use Denmark? Why we don't use Garvey? Who gave us King? And the cold part about it, the King family ain't even saying shit about their daddy. Have you know how quiet those motherfuckers been? Because they all got smut on them. They all got smut on them. They got paid off. They sold the family name, right? They sold the movie. They sold the book. They lived good. Some of them motherfuckers are in trouble with their taxes because they didn't make good financial decisions. They lived high on the hog and they didn't start no other businesses. What about the Shabazz family? Y'all love Malcolm X? Malik El Shabazz? What about his family? The movie been sold. The book's been sold. They sell buttons and all kind of paraphernalia, right? His daughters. What business sense do they got? What political sense do they got? Are they saying anything or are they quiet? The King family and the Shabazz family see these brothers and sisters being snatched and kidnapped, disappeared. They see these brothers and sisters being dead. What about the Farrakhan family? Not just Minister Farrakhan, he got sons and daughters and grandkids. What are they saying? What are they saying? What about Jesse Jackson, his kids and grandkids? The Jackson family, what is they saying? What are they saying? What about Prince Nelson family? What about Michael Jackson family? What about Whitney Houston family? What are they saying? Death is nothing being said about our demise. And yet, they coercion and corralling a mentality to go tear up certain areas in a city. So the DEA, the FBI, and the CIA, Homeland Security, and FEMA can go corral these people, your children, your grandkids. And they talking about no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. And they don't even got a fucking plan. Somebody just said, hey, go throw a rock, go break a window, go steal something. I heard somebody else say, what is you talking about? It's not your shit they stealing. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Somebody gets shot, so we go steal something. And the labor coming out of Asia and Africa and India and Central America, Ecuador, El Salvador, cheap labor. That the shit that y'all stealing is being manufactured for pennies. The people already got $1 billion stacked up, and no matter how much of that shit you destroy, it doesn't affect them. Because why? They got a trick, a rabbit they pull out the hat called stimulus, corporate stimulus. So you can tear up all this shit. And every president, every cabinet, every Congress will give the corporate people stimulus money to stimulate them. And they tried something slick. They said, well, we're going to give you 1,200 hours, right? And the psychology of $1,200, right, is not $2,000. And it's not $200, it's $1,200. That psychology is enough to pay a bill or 2 bills. But you got motherfuckers 6 months behind on bills. Well, at least I can put something on one of these bills that I'm accumulating. Why are we not asking for a reality? Why are we not trying to have a think tank to see past the illusion of inclusion, the illusion of commercial banking? That's why it's called commercial banking. It's an illusionary art. It's magic. It's the great magician. It's the Baphomet. It's the Lucifer. It's the Satan, right? The dark side and the light side. Fuck both sides, right? It's trick or treat, motherfucker. I don't want a trick, and I don't like your treats. You know, what we gonna do, y'all? We gotta figure it out, right? And let's don't rely on common sense, okay? Right? Because we don't want to be no common motherfuckers. Let's rely on common strength and universal knowledge, right? There is some universal knowledge that will allow us to engage in reality. But we're in the age of Aquarius where everyone is curious. They got the tarot cards, they got the crystals and the gems, they got the dashikis, they got the locks and the afros, you know, and the weaves. As individuals, we can do it any kind of way we want to. Removing us from the collective conscious. But Pan-Africanism is all about the collective conscious. How many motherfuckers can you get in one room to share a collective thought? We can't even get 5 motherfuckers to come together and put $500 in a pot to start a business. But they do got the sue going on. They do got the pots going on. If you put $1,500 in a pot, you can get 11,000 back when it's your turn come up. So they got like that gun, and then they got Forsage, where you can buy Ethereum, or you can buy crypto coins, or you can buy Bitcoins. You know, every day somebody is coming up with a capital gains plan, right, in the financial market. And I'm not saying don't do that, but where's the think tank? Where's the think tank? Where is the think tank? Where is the think tank to get us out of the colonial and neo-colonial hologram, artificial reality of who we are, where we've been, and where we're going? Questions, critical thinking. King Aguilar and Subu, glad to have spent some time with y'all. Hope somebody got something out of what was all been said. And the bottom line is they took us out of nature and took us out of our natural thought, which is reality, and they gave us some dreams. A dream is another form of hypnotism, another form of magic, or another form of tapestry that a musician will put you in a picture or a maze, and you have to find your way out. Some people don't want to find their way out because inside they have stations where you can get some water, you get some clothing and some food, and those are the necessities. But today's food is not food, and today's water is not water. They got chlorine, they have fluoride, they have lead, copper. Yeah, so many different chemicals in the fluids and liquids that we drink. And they have human food. They got rat meat and all kinds of stuff mixed inside the things that we consume. Why? Because we allow the government or the corporation to grow and to feed us. But in the beginning, they raised their own sheep, their own goats, their own cows, their own horses. They raised their own things. Each family did, or each village did, or each clan did, or each society or community did. Now, we don't want shit unless it has a corporate label on it. King Aguilar and Subu, on the wake up, get out the dream. Get out the dream and let's do the wake up. Let's do the wake up. I ain't the best motherfucker on earth, but I'm damn sure ain't the worst. So pray for me that we can evolve to a higher state. I love y'all.